I'm Aisha. I'm Jasmine.
And I'm 12.
And we're IJT Productions. Hey, welcome back to IJT channel. So here I got my bestest friends, my business partners. We're here, we're talking about something, really exclusive today. Something that is very meaningful, but I think is very also touching too. So before we get into it, let me introduce the I, which is Aisha. Say what up, Ish.
What's up? You're
the J, I already say I'm Jasmine, but Jasmine, what's up? And then we have the awesome T over here.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. I say now.
How y'all doing?
They're doing good. Doing good. Well, today's topic is going to be about mental health and therapy. Something that's really important. Yeah, and mental health has been the subject of topic and attention this week, due to suicide or, people feeling depressed. And we just wanted to speak about this topic just because this has been going, it's like something that's just been happening frequently, too often, and just wanted to know, like, how are you doing? That's like one of the questions that I think about, because not only how are you doing, but how are you feeling? Like, what is it that you need? And the reason why I also want to get into this is because I feel like more like, especially like with friends, we need to be more into each other's lives rather than, I'm good, or how you doing, or yeah, I'm doing this, but more so like, what's going on? Like, how can I help? How can I be a great friend to you? So like, what you guys think about that? Like, when people say like, how are you doing? Like, how do you usually address that question when people ask you?
I'm very short, so it's always I'm good or fine. Depending on the setting. Yeah, on words. You're short in real life, but I'm short on words. So with that, I would say that, yeah, that question is always like fine or okay. It's like one worded because it depends on the setting. If there's a lot of people, I won't talk. If like there's something intimate going on or someone sharing a vulnerable, sacred thing that makes everybody feel open and welcome to share with their vulnerability, then yeah. But usually with that, you have to be fine or good or okay, because if not, almost like it's almost as if like if you have a mental health concern or issue, you're frowned upon, and we have to change that because we're human. So that, yeah. But yeah, that's how I answer that question. How about you, 12? Do you have any short words for us?
Oh, wow.
Yo, tough crowd. And then she's gonna take the sip after. So so when people ask me how I'm doing, I'm open. Like, honestly, like I'm open. I like to express myself. I don't like to harbor feelings or things like that personally. Like, now a lot of times I be in my head a lot, so like when situations play out, I kind of be thinking like, okay, but why did this happen, or like really trying to dissect everything. But like, I laugh a lot and I make jokes about about things, so like sometimes I'll be going through some stuff, but it's like you wouldn't really necessarily know because I still keep a smile on. Like, my energy is pretty upright and upbeat, and and things like that. You're not gonna really see me like down or like extremely like standoffish or things like that. So for me personally, like when people ask me how I'm doing, depending on the context of the relationship that I have with that person, like, I may go in depth about like if something like real serious is happening right now, depending on like the vibe, or sometimes it's like just we've been taught and conditioned to just say you're good, like I'm okay, and I'm nah, it's all good, or this is happening right now, but I'm gonna be all right, you know. So it really all depends, but I don't really have any issue as far as expressing like where I am, if I'm having a challenge, if I'm going through a interesting patch, whether with family, friends, relationships, things like that. Depending on where you catch me, like, you know, you might get a whole, you know what I'm saying? You may get a whole dialogue. And sometimes I kind of like to pick people's brain. I like to get people's insight on things as well. So sometimes, like if situations play out, I like to get perspective on like, okay, well, what part did I play in it? Or okay, am I bugging, or is this person like really out of pocket? Or am I the one out of, like, sometimes I kind of like to have those moments. So yeah, so to answer the question, yes, like when people ask me how I'm doing, like I'm pretty transparent. Like, you know, I don't have anything to hide.
Good, good. Oh, me, it was so funny because I was like, what was the question again? But yes, sorry, this mommy brain is real. Okay, only lasts for like 2 seconds. But like for me, I would say like when people ask me like, how are you doing? I would be like, yeah, I'm good, or I'm fine. And a lot of the times the reason why I do that, it's because I already know like I have a lot going on and I don't want to put my burden on somebody else. Not that I have tons of burden, it can be like this, but still, you know, like I don't want to ruin someone's mood or in that particular time. If I'm feeling a certain way, particular time, I'm like, you know, I just keep it to myself, or I feel like people can't handle it, or if I'm around the person that I don't know have, you know, good advice or not good advice, but experience in that area, because not all people, you know, go through what you go through. So, you know, how can they relate or help you in that situation? So, you know, most of the part I do just say, oh, I'm doing good, I'm doing fine, you know, because I figure people don't want to be bothered with other people's problems, you know. Uh, you know, because that's a lot for them. They got their own problems. Take on yours. So that's just like how I answer. I answer it very short. I don't get into too much detail. So that's pretty much with me, you know. But just even thinking about mental health, like, do you guys put that on the back burner? Like when you wake up, is your mental health is the first thing that you think about, like just as far as your day-to-day schedule and stuff?
Absolutely. Um, Man, mental health is such an important thing. I know for me, I would be considered glass half full, very optimistic. So my mindset is naturally drawn to, if something is happening in a particular way, my mindset naturally goes to, um, okay, but it's gonna get better. Like this is not the end. This is just a moment, right? Um, so on a day to day, like, you know, each day that I wake up, I do the work to actually like stay into that mindset of not getting too overwhelmed with the world and what's going on in the news, and financial and gas prices is going up and rent is going up, and then this is not happening right now and this got to get done. Like I do my best to as far as my mental health, I watch what I consume, not just on the diet aspect, but I don't listen to negativity. I don't want to be involved with negativity. So on a day to day, as far as my mental health is concerned, even if I'm scrolling on Instagram, I see something that's not going to sit well. I don't even give it any light. Mute. I don't want to hear about people getting shot up and killed, and I want to hear good things. What I'm watching, I don't want to watch super sad movies or movies with nothing but killing and depression. I want to see things that's happy. I want to hear motivational things. So on a day to day, like I do my best to consume content, good food, exercise, things like that, so I can keep my mind in a positive space, because it's so easy to get consumed with negativity. Like you can literally let a moment overtake your mind, and the mind is a powerful tool. So if you let that moment overtake your mind, and then you start getting into all of these negative thoughts, and you start attracting that to yourself. So I do my best to speak life, to watch what I'm saying to people, watch what I'm listening to, what people are saying to me, and, you know, protecting myself from any energy that is not upright and that's not going to resonate with me as a being. So that's how I prioritize mental health. It's very important.
Yeah, for me, usually, like, I would say spiritually, when I like wake up, the first thing I do, like, if I think about, like, when I think about it, it's God. Like, I have to go to him first. That helps in my mind and me spiritually having that relationship and that rapport. So once that relationship is built on a daily basis, because you have to do this like every day, Christianity is a lifestyle, that helps me a lot with my mental health, to see things how 12 sees it, with the glass half full. Now, of course, if I'm in the process of doing that, where there's praise, worship, and that gets disturbed, you would have thought my Holy Spirit like got mushed in the face by my flesh, and I'm ready to like choose violence. So I have to always pull myself like, yo, like, things happen. People may not know that you're in the room praying or whatever. They may think that you're still sleeping and all that stuff. But definitely with my mental health, I realized having a connection with God helps that, because before Christ, that wasn't. My mental health was just like, okay, I'm just going to try to do things my way. Maybe I'll dabble into a devotional. Really don't have a rapport with God, so it was one-sided. So yeah, I just tried, like, just wishy-washy like Christian, but other than that, it was not. But now at this time, when I actually had to go through certain things, mental health is definitely important, and it's something that I think in the Black community we need to speak more about. And I see it happening with like the Black Man Can or Black Man Can Cry and those pages and things like that. And for Black women, of course. So especially for Black History Month, that just helps our mental health, because we talk about our history, our present, and our future, and moving forward, because we've been through a lot. But I think when you do set those things of like having a higher connection with like God, or even talking about, you know, your history, taking pride of who you are, those help influence you and make you feel proud. But you want to make sure mentally, like, no matter what happens throughout the day, like that negativity comes, you want to have a solid foundation. So I think it's very important that we know who we are, we know our triggers, we know what can set us off. If we have any issues, we should always seek out, because we tend to, like, when something bad happens, always introvert, like hide off. But we need to speak up more, because I don't think people find, you know, vulnerability out as attractive, but it actually is. So that's how I view mental health. And yes, it's important. But what about you, Jasmine? How do you see mental health?
I see mental health in different aspects. You know, I get the individual, like with God, but then I also see it with, you know, the group of people that, you know, like how you had Daniel and his three. Like, I think of it as a support system as well, because you do need both. And, you know, like you, Ish, you know, I wake up, you know, I pray to God and have my quiet time with God, which is, you know, reading my Bible or devotional. We do a couple of those together individually. And also, you know, you having those scriptures and writing down positive gratitudes is another thing that really helped with my mental health, is because sometimes, you know, I could think, well, I need to be at this place at this time in my life right now. And when you start doing that and comparing your life to others, and or where you think you should be, it takes you to another level or to another place where you don't want to be, you know, mentally. So that's when prayer and reading my Bible and going to God comes back in, just particularly for me, because it helps to keep me focused on the prize and where I need to go. And I'm going to shout out to my, you know, EWIF group. Okay, how you doing? Because that's my support group. All right, we're a Christian support group. And we, you know, talk about things that are on our hearts and on our minds. And I think just even having a group of strong women that could help you, who understand you, who are walking with you and can use scripture, and it's great. It's great for your body, it's great for your mind, it's great for your soul, your spirituality, and everything. So I think just having a great support system is very, very, very key nowadays, you know. And just like you share, like mental health is just one of those things, like, oh, don't talk to me about it, something's wrong with you, you know, like we look at it as this disease that we don't want to get or, you know, touch. but it's one of those things where, you know, God has like brought to light that we need to pay more attention to, and there's nothing wrong with it at all, you know. And I think the first step is just being vulnerable about where you're at, is the first step to that lead to many doors that could, you know, heal you as a person, you know. That's why, like, I don't mind being vulnerable. I had to learn how to do that because of the simple fact that what it would do to my heart, you know, just make me introvert and just want to make me go away and not go outside, be with friends or anything. So, you know, I think that that's just one of the amazing things about just sharing and just being vocal about it. Now, it's important who you share to. Just don't share to anybody, because you can't trust everybody with your heart. You know, you have to have those people that's in your corner for that. But what you guys think about like just getting help, just as far as like therapy wise, like, you know, I mean, I think that's a good thing, but you know, some people that, you know, I do know who want to get help don't want to go to therapy because they don't want to, you know, have someone that they don't know like tell them about their life or help them. So I just want to know you guys' thoughts on that.
Well, I'll say that with therapy, it's interesting. And I'll talk about this sometimes on social media. There's like a thing where like there's like this self-healing. Everybody's healing themselves, right?
Mm.
And it's like that's cool, but at the same time, I do think there is a beauty in having someone assist you in that journey, because you know, how are you going to be able to you keep going into bad relationship after bad relationship, you keep going into different things and trauma, childhood things that, you know, some things is out of your control. For you to have to take on the responsibility or have the responsibility to quote unquote heal yourself, I think that is a lot to put on the individual. Now, I would say that I think the self pride that you should have is what Jasmine spoke to about being vulnerable and being to be receptive and have someone help you sort out certain things that are hindering you, you know? So I think therapy is a great tool to help people that not don't even know how to necessarily begin, you know? Because I think of it like this, right? If I was my own personal trainer, right? If I was my own personal trainer, like, am I really gonna push myself? Am I gonna really, or am I gonna just do enough exercise? Like, all right, I broke a sweat, I'm good. But my personal trainer may say, there's more there. There's a couple more reps. I may not like the person after because it's like pushing me, but I think that's kind of the dynamic that therapy can create as far as getting you a little bit further than you just going to the things that are comfortable, getting you out of your comfort zone. I do think it does take a level of getting vulnerable and getting uncomfortable to have that breakthrough. But if you just, let's say, for example, if you struggling with an addiction, you know, you may just say, yeah, I know I got an addiction. And that's you saying, well, I'm healing myself because I'm being accountable to say I have an addiction. But somebody may say, well, that addiction is because of this that happened to you. And this is what you're trying to, you know, suppress from. This is an emotion that you're running from. Like, so I think I think it can be a great tool. And I do think we have to not just create connotations on things and just say like, oh, I'm not going to talk to a shrink, or I don't know that person. I'm not going to talk. That's what white people do. You know, all of this stuff that people say. I think we need to be more receptive and be, again, about the true healing, whatever it's going to take. Like, yeah, you can heal yourself. Like, I see you doing your thing, going to the gym, you taking the initiative. But I do think that it is also power into having a support group, like you mentioned, having a therapist or having some other outsider that is going to not just agree with you. They may challenge you. They may enlighten you on things that you're unaware of. So I do think it's important.
Yeah, I agree with 12 about that self that self-help thing. Like that's no therapy. I would definitely push it because I have a background, like I wanted to grow up to like be a therapist. Like I went to go get a master's for social work and like all of that. Not licensed, but I have that background. But it was something I was very passionate about because you see growing up as a kid in the project, all this stuff, moving places, coming from like a divorced household and things like that. I was like, oh, this is something like, there's certain things that are like broken in life that people are going through. I wanted to do that. Unfortunately, God has my heart otherwise, because I'm like, no, I can't, I'm not built for that. But shout out to the therapists who are. God bless y'all. But with therapy, I would say that it is important because if you're just in your mind, you may not be able to see yourself on the outside looking in, like 12 mentioned. It's like, yeah, you could do that. But if you have someone who pushes you and can like draw things out of you where you could say it out loud, see it from a different perspective, help you sharpen that, it is important. I think it's also beautiful that more in our community that Black people are actually going to therapy with like Black women do therapy or Black girl therapy or Black men can, or like Black men can cry. Like it's okay, like for those networks and those platforms to put that up there about us, like, let's talk about our mental health because we hold in stuff and like have this whole strong Black being a strong Black woman. It's like, well, strong people have feelings too, and they can be vulnerable and they go through everything else. They are human. They are not like Superman or bulletproof, and that's okay. So I think it is amazing for therapy. I think what I would encourage is that take your time in finding the right therapist, because sometimes there are some things about like countertransference and transference about like your therapist projecting things on you, you projecting your things on your therapist, things of that nature. But you want to make sure you find the right one that's suitable for you. There are definitely resources and websites for that. I think a support group is also important because I know 12 mentioned addiction. So if you're like seeking NA or AA, they have huge support groups where they meet like, they're like international all over. Or any support groups of like maybe suicide, depression, or what is it? We're not counter transfer. What is it called? Like those relationships of like domestic violence or things of that nature. They have those types of programs, like support groups, which I think are very helpful to say out loud. And I think we need to speak on that more. And when you do find the right therapist, stick with them. And you shouldn't be like on them, like, you know, pretty much like, I guess with the time, how the sessions go, but definitely just try to find the right one. Take your time with it, but definitely seek help first because it helps shows you like it brings out a different side. And if you have someone who's really listening and intentional and trained on it, that is a blessing. But yeah, take your time.
Yes. I definitely have to agree with what you all share, you know, like share so beautifully. Like it's important that, you know, we do take care of our mental health, you know, and it could also just be affected by bullying or just seeing violence. Like if you see, you know, someone get beat up or like you share, you know, growing up in an abusive household, like those things do affect you. And it does cause trauma, you know, so just like you share, you know, find the right therapist. I truly believe that therapy is good and it's amazing. And also just having a support system. And yeah, so we're going to wrap up the video. This has been amazing. Thank you guys for sharing your hearts. I really appreciate it. And please, you know, comment, you know, how do you take care of your mental health? Or if you have any advice on mental health, please share it with us. We'd love to hear from you. Please, you know, subscribe to our channel. And we hope to see you guys in the comment section soon. Love you. Thank you so much for watching. Please share, subscribe, and like, comment. We appreciate you all, and thank you all for watching.